Welcome back. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. I say thank you for tuning in. Today I want to talk about these dogs in a way that something that I just keep on noticing on this in this world is it's really interesting. And it's like everything works in unison. It's like everything is together. And one thing I want to talk about today is I don't want to go on to fake news, but it's very fascinating that when one person starts to talk about something, it's like everyone has to start talking about that same thing. I get it, maybe it's you're trying to get views, get likes, get someone to pay attention to you. You're trying to speak of the same stuff in a different way. But most cases, what goes on with that is everyone just starts speaking and saying the same stuff. It's like you turn the news on, I don't care where you're at, you're pretty much hearing the same stuff. You turn some dog training on, I don't care where you're at. You're gonna keep on just hearing the same type stuff. You turn on some financial help, needing, trying to figure out how to invest your money, you're gonna just keep on hearing the same stuff over and over and over from everyone. Is just like they're reading from a script and they're sticking to that script. And that's what I think is stumbling and fumbling a lot of people with just almost, I'm gonna say most everything, but especially with working with these dogs. Because the script I just keep on hearing is always about, we gotta train, we gotta train, we gotta train. And there's something that I just keep on hearing. I hear from one big, I don't want to use that word expert, but say influencer is a more appropriate word that I would like to use there. And they're always talking about the dog is fully trained. The dog is trained. And I don't need to worry so much because now the dog is trained. But there's one thing that I just constantly keep on seeing over and over again. If the dog is fully trained and everything is good to go, why do you still have to keep on working on that fully trained stuff? Why do you still have to keep on worrying about like, oh, the dog is messing up? Because something that I said a couple of days ago, because it really got in me just thinking about it. If I don't have my dogs do a downstay in my videos and I don't do it for a couple of months, they lose it. Because that's what I'm going to say training is. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And training is something that I don't think a lot of people are really quite understanding that. And it's something that just doesn't make sense to me on why someone says this is the only way and this is how it has to be done. Because for me, I don't, if someone looked at this dog that didn't see the progression of what I've been doing, they would ask me what, straight up, because I've heard this. People said this to me. What type of training do you do? And then they see me in my van and they're like, oh, clearly you're a dog trainer. So what training do you do with that dog to get your dog to be able to like listen to you, do what you're looking for? And I haven't done a lick of training with this dog. And I've noticed something I'm going to say the transformation of what I used to do. And then when I got into dog training and seeing how I got away from training, I don't have to keep on working upon what it is that I do. My main thing that I explain to this dog is just stay with me. I know that like there's some exciting stuff out here. There's crazy looking, there's the deer, which still get her. There's the squirrels, which still get her. There's the chickens, which still get her. The road runners, the snakes, the pigeons, there's everything out here. But I've allowed her to realize like it's not so extreme. It's fun, it's exciting, because I never ever want to just take all that out of her. And she just knows to just stay with me, and I'm going to be able to bring that center of like the calmness, the peace, the joy, the relaxation, to be able to just relax and be able to just not have to be on edge and all anxious and all excited and all fearful and all anything. Just be able to just realize that you're with me. You're like, this just let's enjoy the world. Let's have fun in the world. And that doesn't come down to a lick of training. That comes down to one thing that I don't know what it is, but what I'm about to say. What I'm about to say is the next stuff that this is where the trainers go completely against what it is that I'm going to talk about next. And that's coming down to the relationship aspect, that I don't need to train the dog to want to be with me. I just need to make sure that I'm in a proper relationship with that animal for it to want to be with me. It's not there because it has no other choice, that it's going to be punished, abused, manipulated, treated in some sort of negative, hostile way, and or even trying to over treat it. Because still, being too nice, it's not all the it's not what it cracks out to be. You have to have a balance here of what's going on. But what the heck is that? Is that a turtle? You can get it. I don't care. That's a turtle. You can get it, Kai. Just random stuff that goes on in the middle. Sorry, I just straight up lost my train of thought for half a second there, because this dude is bringing a whole turtle over here. It's all dried up and it's not with it anymore, but it'd be an interesting chew toy. I don't think they've ever seen a turtle like that before. So it's just let them experiment with and play with it a little bit to get that excitement out. But the main thing about this relationship is I want the relationship to be there because it benefits both of us. This is one thing that I'm going to say here that whatever. We give up so easily today. We give up. We quit. We just, if I don't see it now, I don't want it no more. And I'm going to talk about something right now why I just believe that I have great success with not only just dogs, but all of my animals across the board. A new shift that I had to do, and just to understand that I can't, you're mine. I'm not giving up on you. And I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to do what I have to do to be able to figure out how to be able to get this, to be able to get in a better place. And a lot of people are thinking that comes down to the aspect of the of the training. And that's not what it is. It's about figuring out how to be able to, there's someone that says something interesting to me. It's about being a roommate, be able to coexist, be able to have a good time together. That I'm not on edge, I'm not worried, I'm not nervous, that I could just simply be in a place like I am now and just not have to worry. Seeing that the dogs are moving around, that they know that their best interest is to stay close to me. They may want to run and go explore. This dude was on a hunt. He found himself a turtle shell. And he was on the hunt and he's gone. I'm not on edge or worried. But if you're training them to stay close to you, you're on edge. You're nervous. You're never really calm and never really relaxed. That's why we need more training to kind of force that dog to get closer to you. As opposed to worrying about what's going on with this animal, for this animal to want to be with me and just enjoy it just because. There's no extra praise. There's no nothing in it. It's just us being together. It's just us having a good time together. And when it comes down to that, there's no trying to give it rewards to make it want to stay with you more. Because all that starts to happen with that is the concept of, man, I forget what book that's in. But the book of, you start off giving something to somebody, then they start to get dependent upon you. And then they start to, in the end, they demand that free stuff, or they start to get hostile with you. So it starts off with you just, let me give you $100 because you're hungry tonight and feed your family. And then after a while, that $100 turns into, you better give it to me or else. And that's what starts to happen when you reward. The thing that you're rewarding is going to get to the point that it starts to demand that from you. And then when it starts to demand some things from you, that's when you're like, oh, now I need something else in reality. As opposed to realizing, no, you actually just need to take everything away to understand what's going on here. You cannot punish something to want to stay near you and stay close to you. It's only going to force it, and it's going to look good in the short term, I'll say, because it's going to get bonded to you in a negative way. That's the concept of the trauma bond and what it actually truly is. People stay in relationships with people that are beating them physically, mentally, destroying them, and they stay. Why? Because you don't know any other way. You don't have any other sense. You just know that, and you think that you're stuck in it. You can't get out of it. And someone can even say to you, oh, this person is destroying you, they're hurting you, you're clearly in the hospital every weekend, but you're stuck. But what starts to happen is, through time, you start to, the revelation hits of life in reality. You start to see the realness. You start to just, I can't keep doing this. And that's what goes on with the dog. It'll look good in the short term. It's bonded to you in a way of, I can't escape, I can't leave. But as soon as you start to give it any sort of leeway to be able to just be itself, it's not going to be around you. It's going to run away. It's going to run away. I don't care what kind of fence you got. I don't care what kind of leash you got. That's the huge issues going on today. I mean, just the other day, taking a sketchy situation, the dog slipped the collar out of the leash and just bum rushed and got right in my shepherd's face. For me, I'm like, everyone, calm down. My daughter's here. The other kids were there. It was like everyone got into chaos. The owner of the dog was like, oh my goodness. And I'm just like, everybody, calm down. Calm down. Because this is what's going on when the dog is getting forced into doing something and not allowed to be able to just be itself. And that's something that is hard for a lot of people, because what you can't control, you get scared of it. And you think like, oh my goodness, something's going to happen. As opposed to what I know, I see the situations like that happen. I'm like 99.99% of the time, nothing's going to happen because my dogs are calm. My dogs are chill. They're just like, hey, what's up? And my dog, unfortunately, did put that dog down, showed all teeth, growled at it, and said, you getting away from us. You getting away from us. Okay, we good. So you flinching like there's something coming at you. It's the snakes, man. The only thing that gets me is the snakes. It's the snakes out here. Everything else, I don't care. But everyone's getting so hostile because you think that you need to put everything in that amount of control. And that control is what is actually destroying everything about what's going on with you. And control comes down the first way with the reward side of it. You're thinking you can like treat your way into someone or in something to want to like you, to want to be with you. It's short-lived. It's very, very short-lived because you just cannot keep up with the demand. And then the same way with that punishment aspect of it. You cannot keep up with it. And if you, in your heart, you're sitting there just correcting the dog and just beating it every single day, and you're cool with that, that's a very interesting person that I don't ever want to be associated with a person like that ever in my life again. Like that disgusts me that you could that's not healthy. That's not the right way to go. And the crazy thing is that's what dog training represents. And when one person says it, it's like everyone has to just across the board start speaking and saying that same message over and over again. And we wonder why there's people out here that are just, this is the part that is confusing. This is the part here that I think a lot of people don't quite understand when it even comes down to what Mr. Robert Hines is doing. He's being the voice for everyone that y'all just too scared to speak up. Y'all too in your, I don't know how to say it other than when someone does you wrong, you just don't stand up to them. You just run away and hide. And the more that we keep running away and hiding, that's the more of they just keep doing whatever they want to do. And taking the money from you, taking the time from you, taking the other resources from you, taking your relationships from your other family members away from you, taking everything from you, and you just run away and just hide. You just say, oh, it's okay, poor me. And as opposed to just standing up and just saying, hey, you know what? What they were doing to me is wrong. It's not right. And he's being one voice of the millions of people that, or I don't know, I want to say millions, but at least the tens of thousands of people that he's probably spoken to in his lifetime of working with this. He's being that one that's for all 10,000 of y'all, that you're not speaking up and saying anything. And that's the part with me that why I just have to, unfortunately, but fortunately, just keep talking about these dogs in a way, because I see the chaos that's going on. That no one is just, not no one, but a fraction, a tiny bit of people are speaking up about the problems that are going on with it. And we're just allowing it to keep on happening. And when we allow it to keep on happening, this is universal, people. This isn't just only dog training, but just this is a lot of everything that we do on this planet today for some reason. The more that we allow just the big names, the big people, the big newscasters, the big things, the big shows, the big movies to keep telling us all of what we should be doing, even though it's not actually working for us, the more that they're just going to continue to keep on doing it, and the more that they're going to keep forcing it, and the more that you keep doing that, the more that you're going to start to believe it, because you just aren't seeing and aren't hearing a different way. And that's very, very unfortunate. But it's like there's in reality, if you look at it in the collective of the group, majority of all the big stuff, the word I want to use there is the influencer, they're all saying the same thing. So even though if one channel has 1 million views, they're all the 1 million subscriber people are all saying the same stuff. So it's not just one person. It's like everyone that's saying that. So then it makes you think and feel like you're behind the curve. I need to catch up. No, you're already ahead of the curve if you're not paying attention to that madness. You're already more further ahead, more doing more getting into a better place. The more that you're actually staying away from doing what it is that said everyone is trying to force fed to you. And if it's not working and it's going nowhere, you need to speak up and say something. You need to just have a good understanding of what it is that you are looking for. It's something that is fascinating that everyone just shows and has. It's like, because their stuff looks nice, that's the way that everyone has to do it to get what they have. And you don't know what's going on all the time. You don't know what they have to deal with to be able to maintain what it is that they have. You don't know any of that, but they're telling you that you got to do all of this, and this is what a well-trained dog, a good trained dog is. And that's just, it's unfortunate, but that's just manipulating you to manipulate your dog. And then we're wondering, why isn't this going anywhere? Because you're being manipulated. You're being told what things should be and how things should function, and how they should look. And then you're putting all that upon the dog. So the dog doesn't even know who you are. The dog doesn't understand anything that's going on. So then you wonder why everything is just going completely downhill. Why everything is so hard and so challenging and just so devastating in reality, as opposed to things getting better and looking clear. That's why for me, the more training that I do, the more unclear in reality my life was, the more chaotic it was. The more that I understand that, like even today, this is a prime example of something that I see that none of my other dogs do this, but the Dalmatian does this to me. That sometimes she's just out walking, and I don't know, she was sniffing something. I was like, come on. And she just looks up at me with those eyes like, I hear you, but I want to sniff this for a couple extra seconds. That's the part of the control right there that puts people in fear. It puts you in fear because it didn't respond, it didn't react. But for me, I look at that and say, oh, shucks, sniff it. Let's go now. And then she just sniffs it and we move on and everything is good. There's no hostility going. And now she wants to say, like, listen even more. As opposed to you get scared because the dog didn't react the way you wanted to react instantly. And that's the part that I want a lot of people to get out of, because that's what training does. It gets you more fearful. It gets you more scared. It gets you more nervous. It puts you in this level of unsureness that you start to just, you get close, smaller and smaller into a box, as opposed to getting to a place that's actually going to be better for you. It's going to be good for you. And that's the unfortunate thing that starts to happen the more and more we are listening to the said experts and the influencers and all these people. The more and more fear that they're putting you in. The more they're like, oh, the markets are this. You need to go get all your cash. You need to this, putting you in fear. Like, you got $8 in your account. What cash you taking out? Not trying to say, but just saying, that's in reality, you want to go by the numbers, statistics of what we got going on around here. That's the average of somebody at, but they're putting you in fear. They're putting you in fear. This is going to happen. This is going over here. This is putting you in fear to get you to do stuff that you need not to be doing. And the more that you're in fear, the more that you think that you need to control. Because the more that out of control you feel, because you think that fear is what's putting you in that sense. And it's actually the opposite here. It's the opposite. The more you get away from that, the more you're not going to be in fear, and the more that you're not going to want to control. The more you're just going to live and just be in existence. And that's getting so, like, impossible for people today for some reason. Because you're so focused on, for one, the trends. I got to do what they all do. That's just one thing that I would just say to anyone. Any content that you're watching right now, just see, like, if every single other person is saying all that exact same thing, same stuff, same thing. If you're a person in the United States of the Americas and the only stuff that comes to you is how great President or Vice President Harris is and how this and that, just look at every single channel you watch. I mean, all of them, all the way down to gaming stuff, to whatever you watch, funny things, and just see if they are all saying the same stuff. Are they saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over? They're never saying anything about Trump, or if they are, they're saying something negative about him. They're not saying anything positive, because that's what's going on right now. And that's how dog training is even. That's how just everything is for some reason on this planet. It's just like you're seeing all the same stuff. You're not seeing anything else out there, another option, another different way to go, a different way to think, a different way to be. That's why for me, I don't have techniques other than grab a dog, put it on the leash, hang out with the dog. Because it comes down to what you want, what you desire. And understanding that you cannot manipulate, you cannot force, you cannot punish, you cannot reward, you cannot do any of that to get anything to want to be with you. It's going to look good in the moment. And that's what a lot of people are all about. This money aspect is they want to get paid, and the faster I can make it look good, the faster I can get paid, the faster I can move on. But then when you're not getting any sort of success, any sort of results, that's where you shut up and you don't say anything. You don't speak up. And that's the part that there's a few people that are wanting to speak up. And a lot of people don't quite understand it, but I totally understand it. There's not only just thousands, there's hundreds, there's millions of people at this moment today, based on just the past, how long we've been domesticating these dogs, have been getting extremely bad advice and doing things that they should not be doing and getting worse and worse and worse. And you don't speak up about it. You're not saying a single word about it. And there needs to be someone to be able to speak up and say something about it on your behalf. And then at the same time, when they're saying something, this is the whole concept of, I'm going to say something messed up right now, but it makes perfect sense. It's easy for everyone to understand. But when someone gets assaulted by a man, a girl speaks up. All of a sudden, like 50 other girls come in. There just needed to be that one to just get it going. And then now everyone's like, yeah, I hear what's going on. And that's in reality what needs to happen here. Everyone needs to just start to speak up and just say, yeah, that did happen to me. That didn't get anywhere. That did make things worse for me in my life in reality with what it is that they were telling me that I needed to do. And that's just more and more just needs to be speaked up about that. More and more needs to be said about that. Instead of just one or two people, everyone starts to trickle in and just say, hey, you know what? We need to do something here because this isn't working. This isn't actually giving us what you're saying that it is. You make it look good right now. You make it sound good. You make it seem pretty, but it's not actually that. And this is why for me, dog training is in a small sense of the bigger picture here. But if we can't even speak up about a simple animal and feeling disrespected with that, you are not going to speak up to your politicians about what's going on. You're not going to speak up to the school systems about what's going on. You're not going to speak up to anything. Even your own spouse, you're not going to speak up. if you're not able to speak up about something so simple as that? And it's got to start with something simple in reality to move on to something more. That's why for me, I'm still going to say this because this is how I see dogs today. They are simple. They're so simple to be able to work with. But for some reason, they're so complicated because of how complex we are trying to make the world, or the world is trying to put on us, trying to make it seem to be more complex than it actually is. And that's something that I want more people to just really think about, that concept of hearing all the same information over and over and over all day long. And then wondering why everything isn't getting better. Because for one, you're hearing the same information. You're hearing that, oh, these people over there are doing good, but you're not doing good. So what's going on with that? What's going on with that? And I understand that we all try to be hidden, because I know this is times have changed. I know my parents, they don't talk about money. Whereas today, people go on TV shows and all kinds of stuff talking about every dollar that they got. But people born in the 50s and the 60s, you don't talk about your money. That's hidden. That's my own information. And that's stuff that today we're changing. We're starting to be more transparent. But we're picking and choosing what we want to be transparent about. In reality, we're picking and choosing the things that aren't really a benefit for anybody, but only for our own selves. And that's the part that I believe that we as a people, as a collective group, need to figure out how to be able to change. Be able to understand that if things aren't working out for you, say something about it. Don't just shut up and think that you don't have a voice, that you're not going to be heard. Because you may be that one person that says something that gets 50 or 1,000 or 100,000 other people to say, wow, like, I see what's going on. There's many of channels that I've seen that someone posted one video, a 2-minute video, and it's got 1 million views because they're saying something that's meaningful. They're saying something that's powerful. They're saying something that a lot of people, or one thing I could suggest anyone to just do a quick YouTube search on is, I don't have any friends. I've never been in a relationship. Videos like that people post. These videos get like millions of views, but no one's talking about it. But the views are speaking loud and clear in reality that a lot of people are in this situation. A lot of people are like, I don't have no friends. I've never, like some of these videos, they're like, I'm a 40-year-old and I've never had a girlfriend. These videos get millions and millions of views. Why? Because that's actually what's going on with millions and millions of people. It's actually going on with you, but you're not saying anything about it. But your eyes that are gravitating toward it are speaking the message. But more people just need to say something about it, as opposed to just being one or two people and not anyone even responding of what's going on here. If you needing some help with a dog that you've been trying to go to all these trainers and do all this stuff and you're not getting anywhere, you need to simply say something about it. Say, that didn't work for me. That didn't work for me. That didn't go anywhere for me. That didn't make anything happen for me. And more people will finally be able to get to a better place in this life, as opposed to just thinking that they are, for one, worst case scenario, the only ones. They're the only one. I'm the only one that's struggling here. I felt that way with my stuff. I'm the only one struggling with my dogs. Why my dog trying to bite me right now? Straight up, I've had 2 dogs now that try to bite me. And 2 dogs now that I don't have any worries for. 2 dogs now that anyone can walk my dogs, even a child, because they're not trained. They just listen because we're balancing back and forth of what it is that we're doing. And once I started to get into that place with working with stuff, I started to realize the beauty and the simplicity and just the only thing I can say there is just the calmness of it all. That I don't have to keep working on things as far as like these little drills, that I could just live and I could just be, and things just keep getting better. That's the part with me that it's been a challenge to get into, because I used to like the craziness and the madness and exciting and the wilds and the rampage. I realized like that's not healthy at all. That's not healthy in any way. Thank you. Yeah, Kahi. Too far away. Ophi. Kahi. Ophi. Come here, girl. I don't care. You can bring it. All right, outs. Come here. You need extra assistance. She's got something new to chew on that she's like, this thing is amazing. Come here, girl. Not halfway, all the way over here. Ophi. Come here. This is the part here that I was just saying on. She's got this, I want to sniff this. Come here. And she gives me that look like, let me finish sniffing this first. And that's the part that I think scares people. But for me, I'm just like, I don't know how it's changed. Ophi, I don't know how it's changed, But I guess the main thing I can say is I don't allow it to get in my feelings anymore. I don't allow it to just look at it like she's being disobedient. She's just doing what she's doing. She's being a dang dog. Come here. She's being a dog. And dogs do dog stuff. And as long as it's not a situation that I'm in danger, she's in danger, it just doesn't make sense that everything needs to be such highly controlled. Come here. Ophi. Hi. Let him chew it for a second. You'll be okay. I appreciate y'all not fighting for it. For being so young, she's got a heavy influence on getting her way, which is kind of cool. Come here. This is a concept of just, I don't know, to me, since I know nothing's perfect, I don't expect anything to be perfect. And the more that I don't expect everything to be perfect, the better things that I see everything becomes. Because what starts to happen is like something simple as that. I mean, a girl's chewing a delicious bone, like something she's never had. It's interesting, it's different. And for me to demand and expect that because I said come here, to just stop everything that you're doing from this delicious bone to come here, that's the part to me that's just, it's complicated. It's complicated. Because if I come in with pressure right there, it's going to force her to, for one, worst case scenario, because this is what I see. This is the part that is the hardest part. The dog's eating something off the street, such as like some chicken bones or something out there that's already cooked, dog shouldn't be eating. And when you come in and punish the dog starts to eat it faster. They just like, they're like, forget you, I'm eating this. As opposed to just understanding, I don't want you eating that chicken bone. And you come in a kind, polite, respectful way of just saying, hey, you know what? I don't want you to have this. That's when they drop it. That's when they let it out. That's when they're just like, okay, I'll stop. So she let it out when I said out, but she's still sniffing it. And that's the part that if I come in and punish, that's when she'll chew it even more. This thing's huge. There's a big old turtle shell like that big. She'll figure out how to eat that faster. Or I would have to get up and go and like get to her to like physically remove it from her. Because I've tried that, I've done this, and it doesn't work. But when I've got her to understand what it is that I'm looking for, of saying, hey, let me, for one, investigate and make sure that this is something you could chew on. Okay, it's okay. And then I'll give it to them to be able to chew on. And understanding that that's just what dogs are, I realized life is so much easier. So then when she does pick up a chicken bone off the street, I can say, out, not that. And then I can take it and verify, like, no, we aren't using this. We are not chewing on this one. And then I can throw it away and everything is okay. And the next one, we'll just keep on moving on, moving on, moving on. This is the part where I'm working on relationship. I'm not working on training, because that's where I think a lot of people are failing at dog training right now, because you're trying to train something that's not trainable. I don't know how else more simply to say it than that, but you're literally trying to train something that's not trainable. It's something of the dog needs to want to listen because of our relationship that we're having together. This is the part that dog training just doesn't, in my opinion, understand. Because I know there's many huge channels right now talk about, they make fun of them, mock the whole concept of relationship and training and dogs, and it's meaningless and pointless. And that's, to me, it's like, how is it then that some people are able to do some things that just don't make sense to others? And that's where, in my opinion, the corrections and tools and punishment really starts to dig deep, because you want to fast track something that you see someone else is able to do, but then you're still not able to get it in the end anyways. That jealousy and envy is the death of humans. And that's something that I would hope that no one wants to try to get into the middle of. That's why I don't want to show off and show off and show off. I want you to have what you want, what you have.